Welcome to VSB After the Bell. I'm your host, Gianna Chell. With deep gratitude and respect, we are honored to be learning and unlearning on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Hamathquiam, Skohomish Ohomeom, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. The Vancouver School Board is among the most diverse school systems in Canada, with an annual enrollment of approximately 50,000 students from kindergarten to grade 12 and adult education students. We have a reoccurring segment on the show called Matter of the Month, where we address the most talked about topics. This can be anything from a success story to a controversial issue. This month, being February, we're discussing Pink Shirt Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness against bullying and fostering kindness. Pink Shirt Day originated because back in 2007, two high school students in Nova Scotia, David Shepard and Travis Price, saw a younger student bullied by homophobic slurs and threats. These two students responded by giving out 50 pink shirts to classmates, sparking a global movement against bullying, one that VSB sees come alive every year. Joining me today is Joel Fleming, a teacher at False Creek Elementary, and someone who sees the meaning of this event take hold. Thank you so much for joining me today, Joel. For our listeners, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so proud to be part of a district that takes time to care about these issues. I think it's so important that we can take time to talk about diversity, inclusion, homophobia, and kindness, because they're really, as you said, real in our classrooms today. As you said, I'm a teacher at False Creek. I teach kindergarten right now. I previously was at the wonderful school Trafalgar, teaching grade 1 and 2. I've also taught intermediate, so I've sort of been all over the map. But in every grade that I teach, I make sure to integrate diversity, inclusion, and kindness. So I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about it.
In the last number of years, we've been hearing reports of increased acts of violence and slurs against 2S LGBTQIA+ and racialized groups. How are the adults in our schools helping kids navigate these changing times?
Yeah, I think it really has increased in a lot of the schools and a lot of the areas and spaces that we are navigating. But one thing I know at Trafalgar, we started a Rainbow Club, and we made sure to tell all the students that anyone was invited, everyone was included. And we spent those lunch hours teaching the kids about kindness, acceptance, letting them talk and ask questions, because a lot of it comes from a place of fear or misunderstanding. So I think as adults, we can educate our peers as well as our students. Another way that I know that teachers at Trafalgar did it, we invited the BCTF to come in and do a workshop to teach the proper language, to teach ways to include lessons that involved all the families in simple ways of saying, I'm teaching about family today. What does your family look like? Does everyone here have a mom? Does everyone have a dad? Some of us live with our grandparents. Some of us have two fathers or two mothers. And I think those simple ways that adults bring that in and weave it into everything we teach is already modeling acceptance and making it something that's not a big deal, but an everyday life, because it is everyone's life and everyone is able to be included if we ensure that we involve them.
So Pink Shirt Day is about stopping bullying and spreading kindness. What does bullying look like in schools today?
I think today a lot of it is done behind their backs. I find we have a lot of writing in stalls. We have a lot of online is a huge one.
Definitely.
I think that is a big one that's happening. So we might not see it directly in the hallways as much, but it's still happening. It's happening in those moments on our phones, on Instagram, TikTok. I find at recess, that's when the physical moments happen, but it's those quiet moments on their phone where I think it's really present.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the tragic story of Amanda Todd, the teen who ended her life because of the severe online bullying she experienced. Really, the effects of cyberbullying has very real consequences, and it's tough for young people to navigate the online world safely. I mean, even adults can experience hate and bullying online, and they can find that hard to navigate too. Social media is also a highlight reel, right? I mean, everything is curated and glamorized. It can be challenging to parse out who is authentic and who doesn't have your best interests in mind.
Yes, but I think too, that's somewhere that you're really nailing there. I think is we need to remind kids and adults that it's fabricated, and everything that you see online is what people want you to see, and they want you to see all the positive things, all the best parts about their life. The image that they're presenting is not real. And it reminded me of when I was in high school, we learned that about magazines, right? That was the big thing. It's Photoshop. It's not real. People don't look like that.
In style people.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was all about teaching us that media literacy. And I think now we've come so far where kids are given an iPad at such a young age. I think we forget to remind kids to teach them what is media literacy. What does it look like? What is real? What can we do to remind ourselves that this is like television? It's make-believe.
So what can families do to help with that?
I think starting those conversations very young. I already start in my kindergarten classroom and we're talking about things that we're seeing on YouTube or we're watching any videos or reading books, that it is a fabrication. It isn't real. And we can take lessons from that, but we don't have to model that exactly because that's someone's life that they want you to see. I think another important thing is teaching kids the safe way to use things. I know that when I was young, I didn't add anyone that was not my friend or didn't accept anybody. I think now they want followers. They want to have big numbers. They want to look like they have tons of followers to the point that they might accept friends that aren't friends, that they know are not kind. Don't put those people on there. They don't need to see that. They don't need to have an opinion on your life. And I think that's something that's really important. Privacy. I think for young kids, they don't need to have comments on their Instagram. I don't think they need to have comments on in their TikTok. There's a lot of parental controls now that I think is really important. And I know that runs the risk of, are we sheltering them too much? Are we hiding them from the reality? You can't always hide a kid from a mean comment. But I think there are ways that we can remind them, don't put people on there that you don't feel safe with.
It's true. It's a magnified popularity contest in a lot of ways, but instead of it just taking place within a school, the interconnectedness of the digital world takes it into an extreme level. It's also very public, so it's easy to compare your follower account with others and misinterpret that as an indicator of self-worth for kids. I'm glad that, at the VSB, we did restrict personal digital devices. So that is helping students not access their phones, at least during school time.
Yeah, I think that was so important. I used to teach at Kitsilano High School for a little bit doing my practicum, and we used to take their phones at the class time to make sure that it didn't happen during drama.
Yeah.
Because kids would film and they would make fun of each other. And so that was something that one of the teachers implemented. It was really powerful.
Yeah.
The kids felt safe presenting.
Yeah.
Being in front of an audience is terrifying. So at a young age, it's really important that we make them feel safe. And we talk so much about these safe spaces, but online can very easily not be a safe space.
Oh, yeah. And the anonymity of it makes it very dangerous. So what are the warning signs?
Well, I think right away, if we see that they're really caring about, like you said, the follower count, and it's becoming immediately not fun, that's something that you should have a conversation with your kid immediately. I think it's really obvious when you can tell if a kid is caring more about what they look like and what they feel like and what it looks like online, more than the joy of, I'm posting a picture with my friends, I'm commenting on a funny video, I'm having a good time. If you can tell immediately it's not being fun, I think that's a really important time to right away have that conversation with your child. And I think that a lot of parents just want their kids to be happy and they don't want to feel like they're limiting their kids to what other kids have access to. But we have to remember that not all kids are the same, and that's okay. And some kids need more limits on themselves and more parental control.
And also their kids, right?
Exactly.
So as parents, we have to step in and help them, guide them through this time until they are able and capable to actually process this information and know right from wrong and have that right judgment call. What tips can you give to families to have those conversations as starters? Because I'm sure that some families, they will ask, what's wrong at school? And then the kid, most of the time, they're going to say, nothing, I'm fine, everything's fine, right?
That's right. I think starting with asking, how was your day? What was the good thing that happened today? Did anything happen today that you want to tell me about? I think framing it in a way where it's not immediately negative, like what's happening at school or why are you upset? I think immediately that adds that anxiety and that stress. You want them to feel safe and feel like it's a conversation. And so I think prompting with things like, how can I support you with this? I've noticed you seem a little down. Is there something that I can help you with or something that I can have a conversation with you about? I think that as parents, you want to immediately help and you want to immediately grab on what's wrong, what's happening. But we forget that anxiety goes back to kids. They can feel it. Even if they can't explain it, young kids feel the tense anxiety from their parents. And that will affect how they're feeling about the situation. So if we approach it from a more gentle way of a conversation, they might be more willing to have that open and honest conversation with you.
Yeah, those are really great tips. What about bullying in schools? What are some warning signs that you can tell as a teacher?
I think what I notice is the isolation piece when you see kids that are often alone and don't look happy. I think there's no problem with kids being alone. Some kids love that and they love to entertain themselves. And I think it's really obvious when you can see a kid is feeling down. It's in their body. Kids aren't as good as adults at hiding it. And I think I've seen it on their faces. I've seen a lot of kids walking back and forth on the playground alone. I think those are big warning signs. I think when you see kids feeling anxious about coming in the school, there's a reason behind that. And those are times to have a conversation and ask the child how you can support them. I've noticed an increase of kids not wanting to go to school. And that's given me an opportunity to reach out to the parents. Do you think something's happening outside of school or in school that would be causing this sort of stress or anxiety? Because most kids at a young age want to come to school.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Older kids, sometimes we start to not like school
the
as much.
secondary students,
exactly. But I think at young age, most kids are excited to go. They see
like
it as
routine.
a time, routine, seeing their friends, seeing their teacher, building those connections. So if that suddenly changes, something is wrong.
Let's talk about the flip side, because this year the theme of Pink Shirt Day is Let Kindness Grow. To help inspire all of us grow into communities of kindness, can you share a few examples of students' kindness that you've seen at your school and really has made an impact?
Yeah, for sure. So at the Rainbow Club at Trafalgar last year, they asked if they could make cue cards and write messages on them and hide them all around the school. And then that was all them. They prompted themselves. And then the idea was a kid could find it, read it, and move it and pass it forward. So that was such an amazing initiative that was started by the grade 5 students, I believe. We had grades 4 to 7 in that group, but I think it was them that led that. That was such an inspiring moment. So I emailed the teachers to let them know what they were. And that it lasted the whole year. They passed them and moved them around.
It's really like pay it forward, right?
Exactly. Another thing that was amazing is there was a teacher named Ashley House who is a UNESCO teacher. She integrates it in everything she does. She's really been an inspiration for me. And she made all her kids paint rocks that had hearts or kind messages, and then she hid them in mailboxes. The kids hid them in other kids' classrooms. And that was a way that kids were so excited to, like you said, pay it forward. And it was such a beautiful experience. Another teacher at our school made a buddy bench. He painted one of the benches at Trafalgar yellow, and he wrote friend in all different languages. But once again, that was actually a student-prompted idea. And so they wanted to see what they could do, and they needed the teacher's help, of course.
Yeah.
You can't just go around painting benches. But once again, it was student-initiated, and that just made such an impact for all of us.
Yeah, it really sounds like it's spreading kindness through little actions that when you least expect it, right? And to even read a kind message when you're going about your day can really brighten a person's day.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. Joel, thank you so much for spending time today with us and spreading your kindness and your awareness of anti-bullying and Pink Shirt Day. We hope this conversation will inspire others to do the same as we work towards a shared goal of student well-being.
Thank you so much.
Follow us on Instagram at VSB39 to make sure you don't miss when the next episode drops. Or subscribe to VSB After the Bell on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Special thanks to music teacher Mr. Bonnell and the Nightingale Elementary students for the original theme song.